Hi, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing some ideas of how you can hopefully keep your toddler busy while you're trying to homeschool everybody else. So if you enjoy this type of content and other homeschool and lifestyle content, please remember to subscribe and let's get into it. Okay, I want to start off by saying that I am in no way an expert of how to keep toddlers occupied. I have 6 kids, so I've had 5 toddlers. By this point, I have a 1-year-old that's not quite there yet, but I still am trying to figure it out. There's so many factors too that go into it because each kid is a little different. The stage of life is different. You know, what was required when I had like 2 little kids versus, you know, like 6 kids and at varying ages is very different. And so you'll have to kind of go through and see what works and what doesn't. The particular child I am trying to entertain right now, he's 2.5, he'll be 3 in January. He has been on the go basically since he was born. Since he was like 5 months old and could start to sit up and then start to crawl a little bit, he has not stopped since. And it's just been constantly like that. His little sister, who's 1, is much different. She is my latest walker. She is not walking yet. All my kids were walking by 1. And she will just play with toys. Like she'll just sit and play and try to build stuff and put like rings on things. He was never like that. He would empty all the cupboards and then move on to the next thing. And like even till recently, he wouldn't even look at a screen. Like nothing could entertain him. You know, he's the child that I was like, please just watch something. Because he drive me insane. And nothing would get him to hold still. So he's just barely starting to get to a point where things will hold his attention for longer than like 2 seconds. And so again, all these factors are just make it hard to know exactly what's gonna work for each toddler, what's interesting to them. And last year, nothing really worked, to be honest. There was very few things that would even occupy him at all. Luckily, my husband was home most of the time. Like he has a very flexible job. So if we were having a particularly rough day and I was trying to get through group work and we had a screaming toddler, he would take the toddler downstairs and just let him play. And so, you know, maybe having a helper, if you can do that, you know, some sort of helper or an older kid that maybe could do their schoolwork at a different time, or maybe they already do, then maybe they can help navigate a young, really troublesome toddler. But I'm just letting you know, I do not have it all figured out. So if you have things that keep your toddlers occupied, put them down in the comments because all of us need all the help we can get to get through these stages because they are very, very hard. Okay, the first thing I want to mention is not necessarily a thing to like keep them occupied, but more of a place. So have a place that you're okay with getting messy. And this is funny coming from me because I really don't like messes. It's something that's very difficult for me as a mom to let my kids create a mess. Whether it's through cooking or through doing activities, I'm just like, it's really hard for me. It causes a lot of anxiety and I just have to be like, it's fine, it'll be okay. And so in my homeschool tour video that came out a few weeks before this, I would have shown a table that we've had a long time. And it's a really good like toddler size table. And we moved it up into this room just like last week, 2 weeks ago. And that's where I've been setting up all this stuff for my toddler, sensory bin stuff or activities for him to do. Sometimes he'll sit there and sometimes he still comes and sits at the bigger table with us. But having a spot that I'm like, if you draw on that table, I don't really care. If you painted on that table, I wouldn't really care. And obviously, if you want to give them messier activities, you might want to put them outside or do homeschool outside that day or something, you know? So some people don't even care about the mess. They're like, whatever, this is just how it's gonna be. And kudos to you if you can do that. I cannot do that. I also don't want to do that. I don't want to spend my whole day cleaning up their messes. So I try to keep it as contained as possible. So have a space, whether it's a table, or maybe you have certain types of bins they can play with. So they might still dump a few things out, but most of it stays contained within the bin, or having trays that they can color on, or do like if they're painting. So most of the mess stays within the tray and not everywhere else. So those are just a few thoughts about that. Like have a spot that you're okay with them kind of making a mess while you're trying to do homeschool with everybody else. The other thing I wanted to mention too is that some of these activities that I'm gonna go through might be better supervised, and some of them might be fine if they're unsupervised. Since my toddler sits like right over in this area in front of the window while we're doing schoolwork here, like group work, then it's very easy for me to see if he is doing something he's supposed to or he's not supposed to. But there's also activities that might be really messy, and maybe those would be better if they're not done when you are working with other kids or done in the house, right? They might be better done outside. So some activities, depending on your child, the age of your child, what, you know, how crazy they are, how calm they are, some of these activities might be, you might need to supervise them, and some of them they might be able to do mostly unsupervised with just you occasionally checking in on them. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to mention is stickers. Kids love stickers. I will say they are really fun. I say that both in a true, like they truly are fun, but also in a, they might stick them everywhere sort of way, which might not be so fun. But I liked, so stickers can be hard though for little kids. Okay, so that was something that I've noticed with my kids when they're super little, is that trying to pick like flat stickers. I have so many flat stickers from over the years that my kids have just gotten in, maybe drawing kits or just a variety of things. And if I give those to my toddlers, I end up having to pull all the stickers off because they can't get them if it's just flat. So on Amazon, I searched for puffy stickers. I don't even know, I'll link these ones, but I had to get more because he has already gone through a lot of stickers. But, you know, obviously you don't have to give him tons of stickers if you don't want him to go through all of them. But these ones are super puffy, like they're lifted, so they're easier for him to pull off, and so are these ones. And some of them, I think these ones they come with a scene behind them. And so you can either give them a separate piece of paper or they can put the stickers on that scene. Some of them have cars, and so there's like a road and they can put them on the road. So there's different options that way, you know, depending on what your child likes. My child just is happy to have stickers. And if I keep giving him more stickers, he'll just take them off and just stick them on the paper, and he just likes making piles of stickers. Something else I saw on Amazon is I was trying to search for a few more things that might be good for him were these. I think these are reusable stickers. They just came in the mail like today. We just got them today, so I haven't even opened them, but yeah, so they have a bunch of stickers in here. I don't know if these are, oh, these are just pictures of the stickers, I think. So here's the stickers, and they're reusable ones. And then they have like a scene right here. And there was a few different options, I think, to choose from of scenes that you could pick. And so this one has ocean animals, vehicles, and then dinosaurs. So something like that, yes, reusable, they probably won't last a super long time just because kids are a little rough on them, but maybe we can get a few uses out of them instead of just one time making piles of stickers and then it has to be thrown away. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to mention is Play-Doh, and I have a love-hate relationship with Play-Doh. Basically, again, anything super messy. I do like kinetic sand over Play-Doh, to be honest. I just feel like it's easier to clean up and like sweep up. Play-Doh gets stuck onto things. And so Play-Doh is really good. This last week, it kept my toddler occupied for a really long time. I gave him 3 different colors, and I just bought several years ago, actually, it's been a while, a few like huge bins of like just red and then yellow or green. So I have tons of Play-Doh that we don't end up using. So I'm like, I don't care if he destroys it and he mixes all the colors together, because it kept him occupied for like 40 minutes, which just doesn't happen very often. And then I just gave him a few like tools or something, you know, the small rolling pin, and he played with those a little bit as well. So Play-Doh is really good. Along that same line, because I mentioned kinetic sand, I did just buy more kinetic sand. We have some. It's very, very old. My kids have played with it so much. So these are things that my older kids will play with too. So these ones I just got off of Amazon. I got a blue one, a green one, and then just the like sand colored one. And again, I just think kinetic sand is so much easier to clean up. Like you can actually sweep it up, whereas Play-Doh just is sticky. It just sticks to things. And so I prefer cleaning up kinetic sand over Play-Doh, but just having some of those things, like you can put them into a sensory bin with a whole bunch of different toys or themes and stuff like that. You can put little scoopers in them. There's all sorts of ways they could use them. You know, you could just put it in the same bin. I should have grabbed one that, like the little trays with the edge on them, you could put some of it in there. They could play with it, the same place where you'd have, like, if they watercolored or something, to keep it inside of it. And so that helps prevent as much of a mess. You know, they keep it inside of there and not all over the table. It's still gonna make a mess no matter what, but at least helps contain it just a little bit. So Play-Doh or kinetic sand is also a good option. All right, and along the same vein is like Play-Doh and kinetic sand and having sensory bins, having an actual sensory bin. And this could have many different faces. And I showed this recently. I think I've shown it a few times, but I recently got this one from Inspire My Play off of Amazon, and it opens up. There's different bins in here. These can come out and they can sit on the lid as well. These little parts, accessories, I guess is what you call them, are sold separately. So I bought a bunch of these little scoops. There's funnels and like little droppers. I'm like, what are these things called? And my son right now just enjoys playing with those. Like, you can put other things in here, which I'm going to do. We just haven't quite gotten there yet. And there's also this part, this mat. All these things you have to pay for separately, and so it can be a fairly big investment at the beginning. And this might be a Christmas present for him. I'm not sure. I am getting him a bunch of like blocks, but this is a circle and it inserts into this bin that I just showed you. And it has two sides, so it can be used for the smaller Legos or like the bigger little kid Legos, the big little kid Legos, if that makes sense. And so it has the multiple sides that you can use it for. And so I thought that might be fun for him. And then these are also a new one that I got for this, where these have multiple, what are these called? Compartments, I guess. And so they can sit inside of there, and they separate Legos. Like, you could put different Lego colors in here, or you could have them sort out the different colors, like put all the blue ones here, put all the yellow ones here, or whatever. So they have some different options here. You can see they've sorted the Legos. There's also, if you wanted to use it as a craft bin for older kids, you could do that as well. So there's this option with this same sensory bin, and you can fill it with stuff that older kids could do. Obviously, all the little beads and all that stuff would not be good for little kids. So that's one of the things that I've gotten that we're gonna use as a sensory bin. And since I'm not great at coming up with my own ideas, I got their activity cards as well. And then when you buy one of their products, I can't remember if it was because I bought the sensory bin, they sent me a book, so I printed it out and bound it, but it has probably similar ideas, but it has some things for younger kids, some things that are more like imaginary play, and whatever. I can't think of the right term right now. You know, so there's a variety of things that are more messy, things that are less messy. It gives a bunch of ideas in there as well. Because again, I'm not very good at thinking up my own ideas. I steal everybody else's. And then I also had just gotten some of this colored rice. I know I could make my own. Who really has time to do that? Because I sure don't. And so I got this, and this is something that is messy, but it's also easy to sweep up because it's not like sticky or anything like that, right? It's just it's way better than cooked rice. Oh my gosh, trying to clean up cooked rice from kids, that is the worst. One of the worst things to clean up because it just sticks to everything. It's so annoying. And so cleaning this up is way easier. So I got one of these to do some in this bin as well. So just some sort of sensory bin is really good. It just has a variety of things. Kids like to touch a whole bunch of things. They like to explore and experiment. There's also Knowledge Crate if you don't want to create your own. There's Knowledge Crate has some sensory bins that you could buy. And also, what's the other one? Young, Wild, and Friedman that I wrote down. Also has sensory bins. They have tons of Play-Doh that come with a whole bunch of different pieces that are seasonal, that have different themes. And so if you don't want to have to think through anything or go buy all the teeny pieces or figure out how to put that together, those things are great to start with. All right, so the next two things I sort of have talked about and touched on a little bit already, so we'll try to be quick with these ones, but coloring and watercolor. Just something that they can do that's simple for you to set up. Watercolor obviously is a little messier. I haven't personally tried that with little kids. I have stuff to do it, I just haven't attempted to do it. So I need to set something out and figure out the best way for him, especially I think the biggest concern is just spilling the water everywhere. And I know there's little nifty gadgets that help with that and stuff, but I did grab one of these. These ones, they might be, oh, these ones I think were from Michael's. I think I bought them online from Michael's or either Michael's or Joann's. And I just got a couple of them. So they're not super deep, but it's a nice little place to set everything. And even when my son is playing with the kinetic sand or anything like that, especially before I had this huge sensory bin that's a lot deeper, I would just put stuff in here. And so if you don't want him to color on everything or even just take all the stuff outside, right? You could carry this with all the things outside. And these are generally pretty cheap. You can, I think, even find them at the Dollar Tree or the dollar store and get a whole bunch of them. I know a lot of people like to use them for art projects because then it kind of contains the mess for all of their kids. So having something like that where they could color, they could watercolor, and even getting crayons that are a little bit more safe. So if they are like chewing on them or something, you don't have to worry so much about that. And like Melissa and Doug has some really good crayons that don't have paper on the outside. So I know paper can be super entertaining for kids to rip off crayons, but if you don't want them to be doing that and making a mess doing that, there's other options out there that you don't have to worry about the paper being ripped off because there is none to begin with. The next thing I wanted to mention is ice cube trays. These are so great and probably fairly underrated for some people, I don't know. I don't have normal ice cube trays in my freezer anymore because our fridge makes ice and stuff. And so those white ice cube trays that are like so old, you probably have some somewhere in one of your fridges or freezers. Those are great for doing a sensory bin or having just an activity for the kids to do. And I'll show you these and then give you a few ideas. I'm not this kind of person that's just full of ideas and great at implementing them. I'm sure you guys have better ones, but I'll at least share what I personally do with them. But these are a few that probably are from IKEA. I'm not really sure. Some of them I've had for so long. So these are two like squares. You could also find seasonal ones on sale, you know, Hobby Lobby for super cheap or Michael's. We don't have a Michael's up here anymore. It makes me really sad. We used to have one, but it closed. And so just having something, you could pull out the heart one for Valentine's Day. And then one of the ways you can use them is these little beads. I can never remember what these are called. These ones I think are from the Target dollar spot. But then there's the ones that you'd put in like plants or they're decorative, you know, the clear like glass pebbles basically. But you can get them in a variety of colors. So you could help them with colors. You could, again, do it for seasons. They have those like light blue and clear ones you could do for snow and have them put them in a white normal like ice cube tray and just have some fun with it. These ones could go in here. Or you could, really, I just like hand them to them and I don't care what season it is or what holiday it is. And I'm like, here, pumpkins at Valentine's, that's totally fine with me. So whatever I can get to entertain him, I just don't really care. But you can have little kid tweezers as well. This Sensory Bin brand has one that inspired my play, but there's also some really good big ones on Amazon. I'll link them if I can find them. We have some of them, but just tweezers, you know, it helps with those fine motor skills. They can pick up these, put them in. They can distort the little beads in there. If you have a big enough ice cube tray, you could do like little cotton balls or like the little like pom-pom balls. I don't know what those are called, like the small ones. Are they called pom-poms? I don't know. But again, different colors. You know, you can buy a huge bag of all those colors from Hobby Lobby or right before Christmas time and you'll be good to go. And they have some that have different textures on them, and you could have them sort them in here. Those would also be a great thing to put in a big sensory bin, and they could dig around and find things. And so there's a lot of really good options, and this might all be overwhelming. I was just thinking about that as I'm saying that. I'm like, there's good options and you have to have a lot of stuff. I don't feel like you have to have that many things. And all this stuff a lot of it has been accumulated over years of doing stuff with kids. So start with what you have, or just start with a few things. Like pick 1 or 2 things from this list I'm giving you and go try those things first and see how they work. And don't spend a ton of money. Just try some simple things and see if they keep your child occupied. And then over time, and if you're having more kids and all these stuff and trying it with different children, you'll probably accumulate a lot of things. Because again, I think I've had these since my oldest was like a baby. And so that was like 12 years ago. And we didn't get them for this purpose. I don't even remember why we got them. But, just things like that. Like some of this stuff is really, really old. And so you might already have stuff around your house that you could utilize. The next thing is Legos or blocks. Again, I mentioned getting my toddler some that are a little bit better than this and bigger. These are ones that we have that he enjoys playing with now. And again, we've had these for years, like 5, 6 years. These are from the Target Dollar Spot. I was like gonna mix those, the Target Dollar Spot. I don't know. And they were just there, and I bought a whole bunch of them, I think right after we moved back to Utah. And there's more, we have more. I just have them in my church bag since it's something that keeps him occupied. And so I'll hand him the bag at church and let him put them together. But he really likes these, and he's old enough now that he won't put the little pieces in his mouth. And so, that can be a concern, which is why you might want to go with the bigger blocks if they're smaller and still putting stuff like that in their mouths. But he'll sit and build with these. It was like 50 minutes the other day. It was amazing. He just was so occupied with it. So things like this, again, you have to cycle through some things because they might just get bored, but having some sort of Legos or something they can build with, I think is a great tool. The next thing, this video is very long, I'm sorry. I just realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm talking a really long time. Again, maybe you guys like long videos. Hopefully you're just doing something else while you're listening to me ramble on. But the next thing, if you're wondering, is snacks. And this is something that, I don't know, I feel like is like a duh. Just feed the children, which again, I feel like also doesn't teach them great eating habits all the time, because you're just like, oh, you're causing a problem, here, eat some food. So maybe try to do it in a way that's promoting good mental health with food. But just having some sort of snack, maybe if you're doing school time or group work time around snack time, so that they can be occupied for a few minutes with a snack. It's like, okay, if I give you this, that'll keep you occupied, and I don't have to plan another activity for you because it's snack time. So it just might be an easy way to do something without really having to think about it, and it's probably something you're already doing several times a day. So just kind of plan your school day around snack time. All right, we're down to the last 2 things. Hold on strong to the end. So magnets and cookie sheets are also a great thing. Just magnets in general. Like if you have a fridge by you or something else that's magnetic. My kids love putting magnets all over the fridge, and then I make them take them all off because I can't stand stuff on my fridge. But that I will let them decorate the whole fridge with all the magnets. Tons and tons of magnets that, again, we've just collected over the years. A lot of them from the Target Dollar Spot. And so just whenever I see magnets there, you can pick them up. We don't have a Target up here. It's been a really long time since I've actually been in a Target. But these ones are from Amazon. These are letters. So as they get a little bit older, as my son gets a little bit older, these can also be used as a pre-K type of tool for them to practice, or maybe write their name. You could give them the letters for just their name and have them practice putting them in the right order. But these cookie sheets, again, like the Dollar Tree, sometimes at Walmart you might see cheaper cookie sheets, but these are a great tool when you're not by a magnet board or a fridge, that they can just have this in front of them and use it that way. So those are a few options that way. And then the last thing I want to mention is just some sort of mat with letters on it This I feel like is still good for younger kids, even before they're really into their letters or into pre-K. These were free templates that I printed when we first started homeschooling. These are from Quality Kids Crafts. I have no idea if they're still there, but I'm sure you could find some just ABC templates, and I just laminated them. You can do Play-Doh, like have them do Play-Doh around this. You could again use all those little colored pom-poms and put those on here. There's a lot, you could have them as they get a little older, trace it with a dry erase marker. There's lots of different ways these can be used, and they don't have to necessarily, like, they don't need to know their letters yet, but it could just be like, oh, keep it within the lines. Okay, we're just gonna try to keep it within the lines, and helps them practice and become a little bit more familiar with their letters. All right, I hope you enjoyed this very, very long video. I will try to link everything that I can down below. Obviously, some of these things are not gonna have links, especially if they're from the Target dollar spot or from Dollar Tree or something like that, but anything else that I can link, I will. And remember to comment down below things that you like to use to keep your toddler kind of occupied while you homeschool, because it's always a challenge, and it will forever be a challenge, but having even just a few minutes of quiet and peace is just so wonderful. So let us know what you do, and remember to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.